Okay, welcome back to the lessons about making a graphical user interface. In the previous lesson, you designed the interface, and in this lesson, we will write a Python program that makes the interface. In this lesson, we're going to start a tkinter program that opens a small window on the screen. We're going to make an empty frame in that window, which will be like the drawing board, and then we're going to add widgets to that frame, positioning each one using the imaginary grid. A good way to do this would be to follow along, building your own interface alongside my work. So start a new Python program, and we're going to import the tkinter module that just comes for free as part of your standard Python download. And we're going to create a window, and you can see that a window is an instance of a class called tk, and it has the attribute of title. So we're going to give it the title currency converter, and it has one further function method, which is main loop. Main loop makes the window refresh on the screen constantly while your program is running. That means that has to be the last command of your program, windows.mainloop. All the commands have to go in between there, in between the command that creates the window and the final command that makes the window loop. What that means is that Python will be constantly refreshing and running that window, and all the commands that we're going to write from now on go in that space. I'm sorry I'm going on about this, but the single most common error I have found is that students write their commands under the word main loop, and then they say, oh, the widgets aren't appearing in the window, and that's why. So look out for that one. If you run that program just with those lines, you'll see that a window like that opens on the screen, and the window is stretchy, so you can pull it and make it larger, and you'd see the full title currency converter. Now what we're going to do is create a frame that fills that window, and this isn't the only way you can do tkinter. So I've had to make some arbitrary decisions about how we're going to build this interface. There's plenty of information out there for alternatives, but this is a nice, fairly straightforward way of doing it. So we're going to create a frame. I've called it work area. That's quite a common name for it, but you can literally call it anything you like. And I'm going to position it in the window, column 0, row 0. That's basically just so it will just fill up the window. And I've add some extra commands here that will make the frame stretchy, and I just copy these for now. So that first command there, sticky equals northeast, west, south, that just means the frame will stick to the window. So as the window grows and shrinks, it will grow and shrink too. And I'm just starting with giving the first row and column a weight of 1. If you ran the program now, you wouldn't actually see very much at all, but don't worry, we're going to go on now and start putting widgets into that frame. Each of the widgets, we have to write 2 lines of Python. The first line that makes the widget as an instance of a class with any key features as parameters, and then we have to write a second line of code that just places that widget in the row and column where we want it to appear. So just as an example, I'm going to do the button first. Doesn't matter, I just chose that one, and if you remember, that's in row 2, column 0. So it's an instance of a class. The class is button. So when you import tkinter, you get all these classes that are really useful, and the widgets are all classes. So we're going to create an instance of the button class, give it any name. I'm going to call it convert. Some people like to use names that have got the word button in to remind themselves it's a button, but for now I'm just going to call it convert. So it's called convert. It's a button. It belongs in our work area, and the only other thing I'm going to say about it is it's going to have the word convert written on the button. So here are the commands to make that. That command makes it. So the first word is the name of the instance, equals a class, and the two parameters, it's in the work area and it's got the text convert written on it. And then the next line, remember, I'm going to position it in the grid. So in the grid, it's column 0, row 2. That's it. That will make the widget and put it on the screen. At the moment, the window will be really little with just one button in it. So let's put all the buttons, all the widgets on. So there's the button. There's my imaginary grid, and I'm going to put two labels in at 0, 0 and 1, 1, and I'm going to put a text box in at position 0, 1. So let me set out all the facts. I'm going to create 4 widgets, and here's my plan. I'm going to call them convert, instruction, result, and input box, and the type button, 2 labels, and entry. Text boxes are called entry boxes in tkinter. The first 3 are going to have a little bit of text on them, and there are the positions that I've already worked out from my grid. Okay, so here's your task. Those are the lines to create the first of those 4 widgets, the convert box. Create a Python lines to add the next 3 widgets. So stop the video, go and do that now. Obviously the answer's on the next screen. So here's the code to do all of that. Make the convert button, make the instruction label, the result label, and the entry box. Oh, looks like I've called the entry box just box, which is fine. Call it anything that you like. And when I run that program, it will look like that. So, I mean, it's not brilliant, but it's not too bad. Have I met my aim? Well, that was my plan, and this is what it looks like now. And to be honest, I don't think that's too bad. It's not perfect, so there are some things you can do to improve it slightly, and we'll talk about those in the next presentation. But for now, make the currency converter with all the widgets that you need. You may have already done that, so here's an extension activity. If you haven't already done so, think of a design for your own project and make it using the commands that I've just shown you. And I'll see you in the next lesson.